I think I know what's happening and why we're in the trouble. To some extent we are. And here it is. We live in an increasingly complex world. When I was born back in '36, people would actually tie a string around their tooth and slant, remember, and tie it to the doorknob. Yep. We don't do that anymore, right? We go to a specialist. We go to a dentist, right? Yes, sir.
They just had a guy on the internet that hooked his kid's tooth up to his Corvette and drove away.
Oh. Well, it goes to show you nothing really. But basically, my point is that we're increasingly in a specialized society and a complex society. So I had a Model A when I was a kid for a while. That Model A never saw a mechanic, right? You went out and fixed it yourself. You'd put the points in or whatever. It had gravity feed for the fuel, so you didn't have a fuel pump. These coils would go bad on it, so you had to put a new coil in it. But anybody who knows a little bit about cars knows you didn't take your Model A to the mechanic. But now, when you get that new Avalon, and the engine light comes on, what do? Right? Well, you don't call me, right? And you don't call your neighbor, and you better not even open the hood, right? So you got to find a specialist that knows what the hell he's doing, right? And that's where you take it. If your eyes are starting to fail, remember you used to have an eye, ear, nose, and throat doctor. They don't have those anymore. Now they have retina specialists, right? And so that's the way the world is turning. If you have your computer go bad, right, you probably ought to leave your hands off it. Don't delete anything and take it to somebody who knows what they're doing like me, right? That's one thing I do know about. I've been doing that for the last 20 years. So that's the way the world is. You need specialists. Now, fast forward then, and you're thinking, to where we are as an association. Okay? What are we? We're a bunch of old people, right? We're retired. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm just trying to look at this from 30,000 feet. So, we're a bunch of old people, and who is our board? Well, they're volunteers. They are us, right? Somebody raised their hand. How did Marty get elected? He raised his hand. He didn't have to have a vote. He voted for himself. There were only 4 guys running, 4 slots. Bing, bang. That's like the old Soviet Union, right? They got 98% of the vote. You wonder who the hell, how'd they miss 2%, right? Because there's only one guy running. So, but that's not Marty's fault, right? No, it's not. But that's the way the association has come to be. You can't get anybody to run for the board because everybody knows things aren't going well. So, and people who do run for the board, you get that they're like you or I. Some of them have never even seen a boardroom, let alone sat in one. Now, now they are one, right? Now they are running $500,000. That's what our budget is, about $500,000. They're running they're supposed to make policy for a $500,000 association with 930 owners and 1,400 lots. Now, you can see how that might go wrong, right? And has it gone wrong? We've had 3 managers in about as many years, 3 bookkeepers, 7 people at the front desk. Yeah. So, is that an indication of a company that's going bankrupt? Well, yeah, of course it is. If you had a private profit company that went through that, they'd have planned it a long time ago. But being non-profit, we can raise assessments and keep it rolling, right? You don't have to be competent. So that's where I think we got. We got into a pickle, and now we got to find some way of getting out of it. And I'm not optimistic. I think HOAs are a very bad design. But because people die in a few years, and then they roll them over, and then the next guys come up, and they don't know any more of the guys that replace them. So that's a problem. So, but one of the things that's being considered and being heavily resisted by the board, and I've got emails that can, we'll probably put them in future publications from the board members that clearly indicate they don't like that idea at all of hiring a professional management company. And as we will go through in the slide, there are risks involved. But somebody's got to figure out something. As I said earlier, you need specialists. If you can hire the right mechanic, you might get the car fixed. That's all right. Good. So, if the engine light is on, you better find a decent mechanic. You might want to go down to F&C. They've got a good reputation. But when you go there, be prepared to pay something. because you'll be lucky to get out of there under the best of circumstances for less than $300-400, the price of our yearly assessment. Now, some of us believe our assessments are way too low. And if you go to the experts and go through those webinars, you'll see one of the first things they'll tell you is do not underfund your association. Now, I'm losing my thought here. There's inflation and there's aging. Now, one of the reasons I think we've been able to keep our assessments so low is because we had relatively new facilities. This building was built in 1988, I've been told. Well, now, guess what? The roof is about 30 years old, and it's leaking. And it's been, actually, it's kind of fun. Okay, me too. I hope the hell mine doesn't ring. So the roof's been patched twice. So as the association ages and the infrastructure gets older, it only makes sense it's going to cost more to maintain. So the pool needs resurfacing, the pools need to be replastered, the roof needs to be replaced. We put a new pump in there just recently. There'll be a new pump put in there last year. On and on that's going to go. Just like an old house. Like if your car had 150,000 miles on it. Yes?
We have a new pump, but what's going to happen to the plumbing when there's no soft water to go through the...
Right. And that brings up the other thing. See, by rolling over your staff, we've rolled over the maintenance staff entirely. Right? Now, an organization that's solid, like you take Caliente, I'm not trying to say they're better than we are or anything, but their manager's been there 10 years or more. Right? If you read the last article, that's why the reporter said that, went through that, right? They have 100 volunteers. They have, and when you go to their Monday meetings, if you go, some of you live there, I live there, the meetings are pretty solid on Monday. The manager stands up, has something real to say, and if they need a volunteer, they say, we need somebody to do this, and somebody raises their hand, and it gets done.
10 people raise their hand.
10 people raise their hand. Okay. That is the situation there. When they put out their chatterbox, which is their garden talk, right? They put it out on a $400 printer. Because I go down and I've done it and worked on it. I know this firsthand. Now, what do they do if that breaks? Well, they have a second $400 printer sitting there. So they take that over, set it down, take the one that's broken, and take it over and have it repaired. What do? We sign an agreement to lease one, not own it, for $35,000 over 5 years.
With
Now,
color.
huh? With color, yeah, with color. Now, you see, if you don't have that continuity within an organization, if you don't have what is called institutional memory, then you get a whole new maintenance staff. So how do we get this damn thing back up on the track? I don't think there's an easy answer, but that's why we're doing this training, and we're looking hard at a professional HO management company. And I'll tell you, that's a steep hill to climb because the board, ideally, and in point of fact, should be the one taking the lead on this, setting up the negotiations, however they do that, finding somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, to actually get the bids and negotiate and decide what an HOA management company might do for us. Because they're a vendor that can do a multitude of things, right? They can do just the finance and keep the books and that kind of thing, or they can do the maintenance and the landscaping and the this and that and the other thing. And you pay a price, just like if you go down to any place and negotiate something and buy something. If you want a car and you want a basic car, you might be able to get one for $15,000 or whatever. But if you want all the bells and whistles and backups and brakes and stuff, then you might have to pay $35,000. So you just have to pay your money, make your choices, and that's the way it goes. It's the same with an HOA management company. Now the risks are what? That there are a lot of bums out there that don't know what they're doing. So you better pick one. If you're going to go down that road, you better do your homework and take your car to an established company with a good reputation, go out and interview some of their communities and find out what people say about it and do your homework. Now the one we had in here in August manages 300 communities with 17,000 people. Right? That's a pretty big operation. Their software costs $480,000. right? See, you have certain things of economies of scale, right? So we can't afford that kind of software. We use QuickBooks in there. And then something Bill Johnson cobbled up, you know. And, but no $480,000 software. That'd be the whole damn year's budget. Now, when they do compliance, they have an iPad or something, they walk around, take a picture, it's uploaded automatically with that software, because I know a little bit about this. And I talked to the owner, or the president, and then that gets uploaded automatically via Wi-Fi, and a letter goes out to that day to the owner of that property that's not in compliance. Now, one of the problems we have with compliance, and I'll stop. You just go, I could spend 2 hours up here, and this is an hour session. But the problem is with compliance, just taking that one narrow slice, is that am I going to raise hell with my neighbor because I'm on the compliance committee? And the answer is no, I won't do that. Right? I know she's good-hearted. I know she's got a woman living with her she's taken in off the street, right? So she's got a few weeds, the hell with it, right? But if you have a management company, they don't care. They don't live here. Their job is get the weeds out, right? And if you don't get the weeds out, we'll get them out for you and charge you. Right? Well, if you want compliance, that's the way you get it.